Dr. Joe's Fun Stuff today. A Sansui 800 AM/FM Multiplex Stereo Tuner Amplifier, 70 watts. Okay, the fun stuff for today. A Sansui 800 from 1968, which is a little bit ago. Kind of my origin date as well. Pretty little thing. Picked this up a while ago and just now getting around to actually messing with it some in terms of cleaning it up, popping it open, looking at it, trying to figure out what might be happening with it. I do know that when I first powered it up, it's got really scratchy pots. Come along with me. Let's see what's hiding out in this while we figure out what's going on with it. By the way, I do know these are well known for their bass. Okay, let's go for a power up first. Got a 60 watt bulb over there in my dim bulb. Gonna try to turn it on here. Let's see, turn this one on. Whoop, obviously the button was pressed. It did go out and it lights up. It's a little dim, especially that one. You have to check out the bulb in there. Yeah, it looks good. Now, what are we getting? Nothing. Okay, let's turn that back down. See where we are. Okay, phono. No. Okay, phono, FM auto. So let's take it off that. Oh, there we go. We're getting stuff. Left. Right. It's trying to receive. I have a feeling right now it's picking up that. So let's turn that off. Oh, there we go. Okay, definitely working. Copyrighted music, so that went away. Turn this back on now that I know it's receiving. There's some talky people.
That's what they have. And with this huge change in retailers, they want to pass the savings directly onto you to say thank you and appreciate
not too scratchy.
You how much they should appreciate your support.
A little scratchy.
If you're familiar with their other products, they are having
the treble and right and left move together, and probably so I'll have to work on that because they're stuck.
My Pillow sandals are just $25.
See, muting,
just $25. And for the
high filter,
the premium
that does work.
with all new Giza fabric, any size or loft level. Just
Loudness is working, mono. Yep.
Click on the radio
and, okay, everything seems to be working. Speaker fuse is not lit. That's good.
Just enter the promo code back or call them.
Okay, first check. Sounds pretty good.
800-966-3117.
Okay. One interesting thing about this, it'd be nice if this stayed lit the whole time, but as soon as you take it off of anything radio, it goes out. If you put it on FM auto, it's on. FAM, it's on. Aux, it's off. Okay, so be aware that the dial goes out when it's not actually doing radio. Wonder if that can be changed. Don't know, but probably. Pressing on. Okay, let's see what it sounds like with a little bit of actual music playing. Let's see what we can do with that. Hopefully it sounds good. We'll find out here. Woo! That sounds pretty good. Okay, I'm convinced. Well, I'm still going to mess with the pots because their volume one is definitely crackly. I know it probably didn't come through on the audio or whatever here, but when you first start bringing the volume up, it's got some roughness to it. Balance a little bit to the extremes. Bass treble seemed fine. There's a little bit of a thump when you turn it on, so something to wonder about. So I think it's not much to do here except maybe open it up to see what's going on the inside, because I don't know. I haven't opened it. Could be dirty, could be not. The outside looks pretty good. I'm still probably going to do a general clean on it. Definitely going to work the pots to see what's going on. and we'll go from there. Oh, wait. Actually, before I do that, why don't I measure stuff back here and see what's going on with the outputs? And let's see, 1968. I don't know if I can directly measure across the back or not, or if I have to put an 8 ohm load on it. So I'm probably going to investigate that a little bit in the service manual or the good people at Audio Karma and see what I can do and how to measure it. And I'll let you know how that's done. Yeah. Okay, after some investigating, turns out I should probably plug the outputs, which are hiding back here, into some actual dummy load, about 8 ohms, because you have to measure the offset through a load, like so, and it should measure close to 0. If I just measured across the outputs without that, I'd get all kinds of voltage. So it should read near 0 volts across my speaker terminals there as I power it up. So let's see if I can get it all hooked up and show you the results. Okay, let's see what we get here. Got this on, don't have the amp on yet. Let's turn the meter on. It should say 0, it does, but it's an AC, so let's put it on DC. Give it a second to calm down. So here we go. 3 millivolts unpowered. So I have a feeling if I turn it on, it should jump a little and then settle back down. Here we go. Yep, definitely jumped up. And then going back down. That should have been everything flowing around as the capacitor's charged up. And I want it as close to 0 as it gets. And I think that is a good result, because that's pretty much not much. Okay, let's try the other side. Round 2. See what we get this time. Yep, that's a little bit of a bigger jump. Come on down. It's a little slower getting lower. Keep going. You can do it. I really don't want to have to mess with outputs. It's definitely a little slower behavior than the other side. See, that would be the left side. But it gets there. It's a little higher. But I don't think it's much to mess with. Yeah, that's pretty good. I know it's supposed to be dead on 0, but if it ain't too bad, I ain't going to mess with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, they say. That's actually pretty good after a while, after it settles down and warms up. All right, now the adventure begins. Let's figure out how to get into this thing. Glasses. Okay, a flathead or a Japanese style J2 head, but I don't have either of those, so okay, flathead. I'll speed this up for everybody's enjoyment. So what are we going to find on the inside? Judging by the looks on the outside, I think it's going to be pretty nice on the inside. Well, let's find out. Yep. Dang. What's that? Spare lamp. And a spot for another one. That's frickin' awesome. For those folks out there wondering, this is a 6.3 volt, 0.25 amp. Thank God. For a second, they're 25 amps. Stanley. That's like an original one. Obviously, one was maybe used. That's pretty cool. spare lamps, which are probably hiding in here. Yeah, there they are right there. Nice. Okay. I don't have to do anything. Well, this was a deal. Look at those transistors. I've never seen anything like those. They're like little mini spaceships. I guess they're PNP and NPN differences there. Because of the coloration on the side. We've got white and kind of a bronze on the other one. That's wickedly cool. It's the Sansui terrible variable resistors that are always really not great. These guys, this fellow there and that fellow there. But again, it's measuring great. I ain't gonna touch them. Got a mix of some older and newer looking resistors, so maybe somebody's been in here before. Darned if I can tell, though. Although, oh yeah, those are all painted with green conformal stuff. So yeah, somebody's been in here before me. But they did a good darn job. Yeah, you can see somebody's tested. They've marked all the green spots. They've gone and tested. They've definitely done some work on the power stage back here. Doesn't look like much was done up front. But that is incredibly clean. Hi. Got to figure out what's what. Well, this is going to be the right channel and left channel. That's where all the inputs come in. That's where all the inputs arrive and get placed to where all the places they go. Those are going to be the output transistors. That's your selector switch hiding down here. So there's going to be a long pole underneath to here to the selector switch up front. Tuning hiding in here. There's the tuning. I have no idea what that is. Probably shouldn't have poked at it since I don't know what it is. Got a little interesting resistor hanging out right here. For unknown reasons. Got a jumper wire. Yeah, jump 2, jump. So those are supposed to be there. So that's not somebody's post-manufacture handiwork. Transistor, transistor, transistor. That one looks different. But if it's a 458, yeah, it's a 458. On Sansui models, there's these transistors called KSC, 2SC. Yeah, 2SC is Japan. 2 is Japan. K is Korea. I think. I don't remember what China is, but so 2SC, 450. Yeah, those are the ones that are sometimes seen as problematic over time. But I ain't getting that in any of the channels. So again, not going to touch it. That guy there is, see this one right there is a 564. That looks like a 64 and 64. Those are all different. Those are transistors, the little bubble things there. So interesting. Let's try to figure out what's what. So this board here is the FM tuning board. So I don't touch those because I don't do alignments because they're above my pay grade. So hopefully it's tuning well. This fellow here is the FM Multiplex. So this is all about tuning, and this is all about, I guess, pulling the stereo out of it. We'll see how that's doing. Look at those capacitors. Those are big fellas. So I'm guessing that's going to be AM. And as predicted, this is the AM board, which I should have checked, but didn't. But since this is in such great condition, I think I'm just going to assume it's working at the moment. Yep, and these are going to be the amp boards. Yep, one channel, the other channel. And this looks, I guess, pretty darn original. I mean, I don't see any changed out things except maybe that, but again, it's the original part number. I've never seen transistors like those. Where's the tone control board? It's probably hiding back behind this. So we'll pull this off here in a few minutes, see what's going on with it. Okay, those are not original transistors. They have been replaced by something really interesting. A CDC transistor. They look like little UFOs. So there has definitely been some work, at least here. CDC transistor. I can't quite make out the numbers because everything's pointed away from me. And I don't want to really dig in there around it too much because of the way it's mounted and the way it is grounded. So I'm not going to pull those out unless I really have to. But I cannot see what those fellows are. But yeah, CDC. I can't quite make out a number 2 maybe, or 5. 2N, CDC 2N something. 2-1-A. So yeah, I don't know. Not gonna pull them out unless I have to. And I don't think I have to, because they're working. I will do some measurements back there because I'm sure there are some test points that I can check for the proper voltages and bias current. We're going to see. Let's see what's behind here. Hopefully there's something behind there. Okie dokie. After 40 minutes of a blown fuse to my little work area and a computer reboot that took forever, I am back. That's what happens when you have too much going on out in your little work area. It's only like 1,000 degrees outside, so I have an air conditioner running, which you're probably hearing in the background. But otherwise, I wouldn't even be able to live out here. So, let's continue on with the festivities here. Where were we? Clearly some different transistors back there. Probably shouldn't poke with that. But everything looks fantastic. The solder job on one of them looks a little, well, less than spectacular, so I might touch it up a little bit. Other than that, it looks pretty good. I need to get into here now. See what's going on in the front, because again, I think one of the lights is out, which I have a spare for if I decide to keep using the incandescents, keep it original, or try out some LEDs, and then I can look at those once I can see them. Just realized there's a light that goes to the tuner paddle. That, I don't know if that was on or off earlier, so let's find out if it was. Yeah, it is not on. So there looks like there's a light out on the little tuner dial. I can see the tuner, but I can't see the light on it. That's a problem. So we'll have to investigate that too, because I do believe those are wires. Let me figure out what's going on there. Okay, so let's take this off and see what's going on in there. When people do these and work on these and very carefully map out where screws are and putting it all back together later, especially if you take it all the way apart, then you put it all the way back together and you follow your instructions and everything marked out and where everything is supposed to go, and you still end up with extra screws over time after working on a bunch of stuff. Do you ever end up with a screw graveyard? Well, at least when you have one of those, if you find screws missing from something, you can do some substitutions. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out where all these were supposed to go, because they went somewhere. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay, that's easy. Yep, that is definitely going. That's interesting. I guess it's grounded there and powered there. So there's definitely a light that's supposed to be on right here when there was power going to the dial. So I am guessing that light is not working. Oh, there's that light. There's this light. So let's try that again. There's all what? Yeah, that was definitely gone. And that one's definitely not working. That one might be working. Guess that's a light. There's all kinds of lights. They're everywhere. Okay. So it looks like the front panel's got to come off so I can get into it this way. Which is never that fun. I lucked out, I dropped something and found a penny. Okay. So I made some money today. Don't lose the plunger. Because there is definitely a light hiding in the pick on the front. So yeah, if you look right here, there's a light that goes and it should illuminate the dial. And it's not doing that. It looks like something has gotten on the cover here too. There's a little bit of, actually it looks like a repair with a Sharpie. It looks like the black paint on the glass has been painted over on some scratches that are there. I'm not positive though. A little bit of pitting. Yeah, and then the power and FM stereo. That's one of these lights over here is not coming on. So power indicator and, well, the stereo probably will come on if it gets a stereo signal. So one more round here. We got some light issues, clearly. So apparently what I'm going to be doing mostly for this is lights everywhere. And Sansui often paints in their lights, which is a pain because you have to chip it off. They put a little bit of paint on there. However, it looks like somebody's already been here and replaced the front ones with new lights. So there's a light here, a light there, and a light here. So these are all suffering. Tuning is just being illuminated by this one. Nothing else. So I got a lot of light fun to have here on these. I'm going to be careful. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, got a different angle on things. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about here in terms of lighting up. Lights up pretty well. The tuning dial is only lighting because of the far left light on the actual tuning meter. There's 3 other lights in there though that aren't working. There's one for power, one for FM stereo, and another one for, I guess, the tuning meter. Yeah, that's the tuning meter. And then there's one hiding on the little tuning dial here that is not lit up. So we're going to have to figure out what's going on with all these. Well, I have a little incandescent light from another project I'm working on. So I'm going to see if I can at least see if the circuit for this light is working or not. I am loath to work on it because it's connected to a tuner string and I don't want to mess that up. But I think I can just unclip it and get it out of there. But let's just see first if it's the bulb or the circuit. So I'm just going to do a little touch magic here and see what happens by borrowing the connection that we've got here. So let's see, that other one is here and here. So let's just give it a shot. So this guy there, and looky there, got a little light. So the light bulb is definitely out. Now, also out of curiosity, what would happen if instead of a little incandescent light, we used a little LED? And LEDs usually need about 3 volts to go. These are usually anywhere from like 10 to 14 volts for incandescents. So if you look at the shrink tubing here, you'll notice there's a little hidden underneath it, a resistor to drop the voltage from being 12 just across the LED, which would blow it out. So usually this works. So this should drop it to the right voltage because these are for 12 volts. Let's see what we can do here. Kind of got to guess on the polarity a little bit. Oh, look at there. So that could work. Unless I want to keep the original look of it. Okay, so that one's out, definitely. How do I get this out? Well, first, well, the glue was easy because it's really old and dry. Does this lift out? String goes up and over and around. So let's pinch you down. See if I can't bend off these leads first. Trying to be very gentle. The metal here is probably not ever meant to be bent and rebent. There's these little flanges holding down the light. Come on. That's probably going to break the next time I touch it. Let's hope not. I'd be very gentle with that. I think cat stand tape will be my definite helper. Okay, well, you're out. Well, there's a little holder there. And it is filthy. So, what do I want to do here? The LED will actually fit. Will the incandescent I have actually fit? It's a little bigger. Yeah, actually, that one won't fit. So, LED is my friend. So we're going to give that one a shot. Okay, on the little bulb, you can definitely tell it's burned out, and it connects right here and anywhere on the grounds of the bulbs. I got it connected over here on this one, I guess, because of the lead wires. So we're gonna just probably do what was there. So I have to unsolder it and resolder it and get the new one in. Now in with the new one. So what I did is bent this so that it fits. Mostly. Got to get it in there too. Yoink. This is going to be a bit of a nightmare. Let's see. There we go. Let's get you in there. Let's pinch you guys a little bit to hold, and then go back over here and do some soldering. Now the question is, will this light up? Cross your fingers. Yes, it will. That worked pretty well. Yeah. Yeah. And we can go back and forth with it. Okay. Just so we're clear, that now works with an LED light with a proper drop resistor in it to get the voltage right. This is the old incandescent light. Sorry about the focus. This camera isn't as good as the other one I've managed to cobble up. It was blown out, definitely not working. It was hard soldered in. I had an incandescent bulb to use to try to at least see if it was the bulb, and it was. But this one is too large. But thankfully that LED is much smaller and it illuminates pretty nicely. So, win. Now to fix what's going on over here, because we're missing some lights here. This is where you realize you should think things through. Probably should have done this light after the ones behind it, because I don't want to mess with this again. I could take it again off the little clip to the tuning string, but I don't want to do that. And I certainly don't want to unbend this and put this back together again, because that little bendy tab there is not going to survive again. But I got these screws here, and I'm thinking I can hopefully finagle this out without too much difficulty by loosening these two and just kind of sliding this out, and hopefully see what we can do here. Let's give it a shot. Here we go. Now, do you slide? You do. Slide you out carefully. There you go. You can actually see what those lights are supposed to illuminate now. Power and FM stereo. And more. And again, here's the places I said earlier kind of marked up. I got to investigate whether that's dirt, crust, or some sort of repair. And the backside that makes the pretty colors. Let's try not to put fingerprints all over that. And there's our light bulbs for the front. And let's see if they work. And yeah, all those work. This is the original glow with the now new pointer. And I use these guys. Carryout LED lights. They are E10 bulb white lamps. They come in a 10-pack and they're very affordable. Found them on Amazon not too long ago. And why I like them is they look just like the originals, but they have kind of a diffusion over the LED or LEDs. A lot of the ones you get have like just LEDs bare all over, and they create kind of hot spots, but this diffuses the light, I think, pretty well. So let's swap these out for those and see what it looks like, and then maybe we can investigate those other ones. Since I've worked on some of these things before, a lot of Sansui lights, you know, these guys, this one's burned out, replaced from another project I was working on. And again, they typically paint on and then have a cover over them. And a way to tell somebody's been here before is the covers are usually missing. You can see the cover and paint are still intact, and that one doesn't work. Careful with the pointer. There we go. Careful with the holder. Ooh. I think I like that. Yeah, that's really nice because the diffusion spreads it out. You don't end up with any like hot spots from LEDs or from these guys, because they tend to create them too. You'll see kind of a bright and a dim and a bright and a dim and a bright and a dim, and that is all nicely illuminated uniformly. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's a win. Now we got to figure out these over here. Now we got to figure out this light here, because it's definitely gone, definitely out. It ain't working. So let's see if we can't figure out what's going on with it. And it's got it's never been touched because it's painted in, it's soldered in, it's got a little cover on it. We got another light, which is, I'm thinking, a power pilot light. Future me here. Totally not a pilot light. It's a light to indicate the stereo signal that I have to work around the wires of that go down into the bottom somewhere. That's a job for later. And another light here, and these two are grounded together, powered there. So these two are going to be unfun. Okay, first, see if I can't move you up and out of the way a little bit. And that's so brittle it fell apart already. These old canvas coated things get really brittle and begin to fall apart. So sometimes they're not rescuable. First we need to chip off the paint from the cover that glues it down to the socket. And sometimes that's glued down to the socket, and then the bulb is then glued down in the socket. Because as far as I can tell, Sansui had the idea that these would never ever last this long, nor did they want them to. So, yeah, this one's not even going to be savable. Usually I can slowly pry them off, but this is, since it's not happening, I can be even less kind. Just cut you off. There we go. It's brittle, and it's glued, and it's just turning to dust. Here we go. Come off of there. Never had one just crumble. In the trash you go. And as I was saying, they painted the bulb into the socket. So this requires finesse and more patience than I probably have. Now, I haven't had to yet, but sometimes the bulbs shatter. So, again, we gotta be creative. I typically hold the socket with one and very carefully get the bulb with the other and crack it. And that usually gives me enough to get the bulb out. Success. Was it actually blown? That is the question of the moment. The stereo light was definitely non-functional. Okay, before I work on that one, I'm going to figure out the deal on this one. And how to get it out. Can I finagle enough room there? The answer is yes. Looky there. And of course it's painted in. Look at that. Yeah. Okay. And that one is another incandescent bulb. Ha! So that's definitely going to be a pilot light of some sort.
Still not a pilot light.
6 volt, 0.03 amp. Yeah, it's blown too. I can see that it's blown. I have to figure out where that goes down below. Can I just get you working? No, of course not. So, paint chipping, and it's definitely blown because it's all black. These are awesome, by the way. They're little pointy things. I know they're metal, so I'll make sure everything's off. But they work really well when you have to do stuff like that. Then I get you spinning. No. More work to be done. How about now? Yes. Let's just see if you guys work. Yes! One there, one there. So that works. Now I just have to figure out this guy, which requires getting into the bottom. So I got to figure out where the leads go and what they're connected to and what's happening down there. Okay. Let me see, the light bulbs are over here underneath this, or at least the pilot light.
Seriously, not a pilot light. It's a stereo light.
This guy right there. So I got to get this cover off to see where the leads go. Figure out what's going on, and it's definitely blown because I can see the filament's broken. So more to take apart. The rabbit hole gets deeper. It's missing a screw. A hint. Somebody's been here before. I'll have to find that one. Maybe I can use my screw bone pile over there. So there's some screw holes there too, but that's probably for a cabinet or putting it in a console, because in the service manual it actually says how to stick this in a console stereo, which I find fascinating. So obviously this was sometimes in a console stereo. I know I've seen some Sansui 2000s that way. What does the bottom look like? Again, definitely, mostly, I'm guessing, yeah, it looks absolutely immaculate. It's definitely got all the original illness. And again, unless this sounds like really bad, I ain't going to touch them and do a recap. But if it has some noise in the channels, or sounds really awful, or very, very muddy, or there's any sort of distortion anywhere, I'll figure that one out later. So, it looks like if I'm reading this right, those two come down here, and then here, and then here, and it's these two connections right there. And so, let's see if it's got any sort of readings on it. And since I'm going to be poking around here, I think I'll go back to my dim bolt, because I certainly don't want to short anything. So, is there enough lead? There. Nope. So we'll do the touch maneuver. The lights are on, so I know it's on. So voltage, it's those two. 6 volts, give or take. Actually, it's a little less than 6 volts if I split it across 2 things. Okay, future me here again. You're about to see me manically brainstorm a solution to the stereo light, and I throw out all kinds of numbers that aren't exactly right. I ended up taking 2 LEDs and a 100 ohm resistor and creating a way to get them properly volted around 2.1 volts each, plus take up the remaining 1.8 volts left over with the resistor so that everything would work well. So you're going to see me kind of plan and not exactly explain very well. Of equal resistance. So I thought I have some LEDs that when I turn everything on, you have to turn the volume down so I don't get copyright problems. I can get the stereo indicator to light briefly with a LED, which usually takes about 3 volts. There you go. And I thought if I can somehow put them in series, again, because I've got about 6 volts there. They usually light around 3 volts. I have 2 of them. See if I can do this. Again, not the smartest way of testing this. Got it in my dim bulb tester just in case. And I think you saw it briefly there. And I can light up 2 of them for my stereo indicator. And it seems to work. So what I'm thinking about doing, putting 2 of these in series, so I get 3 volts across each one, approximately, so I don't burn them out. Or I could just get the right kind of light bulb. I had some that I thought would work, but they don't. I mean, they do, but they're very, very dim because they're not quite the right system. So I'm going to give it a try. See what it looks like, at least. So let's go with that. Okay, I don't know if this is brilliant or stupid, but again, I have about the right voltage between these 2 places for a 6-volt bulb on 6 volts. But this is burned out. And here's what I constructed. It's 2 LEDs. I know they're yellow. That's all I got. I can get the right ones later, maybe. And I thought, well, put them in series. They should go off together around 3 volts each, because they're the same resistance. So the voltage should split between them. And if I turn it on, which I've already done, and then connect my stereo indicator part of the circuit, see if I can do this, they should light up, and they do. And if I untune it so that it's not tuned for stereo, they don't come on. And then if I tune it back, this little maneuver should work. So let's get it wired up. Okay, I've got it in. And I go off a stereo signal, it goes out, and when I bring it back, it comes on. So I think that should work. Yeehaw! Okay, time to put this thing back together, I think. Oh yeah, I gotta do the pots. I forgot all about those. So I want to put it all back together. Regular deoxit and the fader stuff, which I'm going to use because these have carbon pads that you scrape along. Watch all these folks on YouTube spray about 14 buckets worth and wiggle these back and forth like really fast. I've never been a fan of the really fast. So I go slow, but I go back and forth many times. There's these little gaps in here that you can get to and give it a little bit of a spray and go back and forth. Look at that thing. What a combination of craziness right there. Transistor hiding. I wonder what that's all about. I'm not going to question it. Process putting it back together. Got the lights all wired in. Done there. Bottom cover's on. Found a screw for the missing one. Put a second spare bulb in. Why not? Now it's got 2 spares for maybe me in the future. Still trying to figure out what's going on with the cover on this. Because again, you can kind of see some blemishes below 92, 94, 98. See if I can't get it to focus better. There you go. Can't tell if it's something to clean off or not. This stuff. It says for hands, but it's really good at cleaning off metal. And it wipes away very clear. So we're going to investigate a little bit. I think what's happened is some of the enamel has been kind of scraped off there, or somebody splashed some solder on it in the past and put little partial burn marks. Anybody's got an idea on how to fix that kind of thing? The light doesn't bleed through it, at least, which is a good thing. Here's the finished product. You can see these lights are back on now. Power FM stereo. The tuner pin. It's a little crooked. We'll probably have to go in there and fix that, but it's nicely lit up now at least. And you'll notice I've got it tuned into a stereo with no sound because copyright. But if I go off of this signal, FM stereo goes out, and if I go back on it, it comes back. So that works. That's good. When I switch it off of the FM audio, again, the dial goes out because we're not getting radio or AM or FM. But power indicator's still on, which is good, because before I couldn't even tell if it was on. Now I know it's on. That's a good thing. So, let's see what kind of copyrighted stuff, or uncopyrighted stuff I can do, and see what's happening here. Let's see, treble. Yep. Bass. Oh yeah. And then 9. So there's some music to play. It's got loudness. Wow. That's the bass in the middle. Loudness off. Mono. Yep. This should knock it out with tape selector. It does. This is, oh, that's for FM tuning. High filter. Yep. Balance. Right. Left. Volume is no longer scratchy. I'm pretty happy with that. I wish the dial stayed on, but the dial is only on when you're tuning. Gotta find a home for it. Which means somewhere in my home. Just so we're clear. I think it sounds really good. So, score!